There's one bodyweight movement that quietly exposes more weakness in men over 40 than almost any other exercise in the gym. A push-up variation you've probably seen 100 times on social media, the Spiderman push-up. Most men glance at it, assume it's just a push-up with a knee wiggle, and move on to something that looks more impressive. Here's what makes this movement different from a standard push-up. You're not just pressing your body weight up and down anymore. You're driving a knee toward your elbow while your other three limbs fight to keep your entire body from rotating, sagging, or collapsing. That single addition turns a simple pushing exercise into a full-body coordination test, and that's exactly why it matters more after 40, not less. Most men over 40 haven't lost raw pushing strength nearly as fast as they've lost coordination, hip mobility, and the ability to stabilize their own core under load. Today we're breaking this down into 5 clear stages. From the very first regression a complete beginner needs, all the way to the elite variation that separates the guys who just do the exercise from the guys who've actually mastered it. Whatever stage you're starting at, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one is yours, and exactly what it takes to earn the next one. Before we get into stage 1, if you're a man over 40 who's tired of guessing which progression is actually right for your body, subscribe right now. This channel breaks down real, structured protocols. Let's build this from the ground up. Stage 1, the Spiderman Plank, the foundation nobody respects. Before you ever attempt the full push-up version, you need to prove your body can hold the base position under control. Get into a standard plank, forearms or hands, doesn't matter yet, and slowly drive one knee out and up toward the same side elbow. Hold for a full second at the top, then return with control. No pushing up and down, just the hip drive from a static plank. Here's why most men over 40 skip this stage completely, and why that's a mistake. It looks too easy. But if your hips can't drive cleanly toward your elbow without your lower back sagging or your whole torso twisting sideways, you have zero business adding a push-up on top of that instability. You're just going to load a broken pattern and call it progress. The test to move on? 10 clean reps per side, in a static plank, with a rigid spine and zero rotation through the torso. There's no prize for skipping ahead into a pattern your body hasn't earned yet. A quick self-check most men skip. Film yourself from the side for just 10 seconds. You're looking for one straight line from your shoulders to your ankles the entire time, even as the knee drives up. Stage 2. The Incline Spiderman push-up, where most men should actually start. Hands elevated on a bench, box, or sturdy railing. Anything that reduces the percentage of your body weight you're actually pressing. Lower your chest toward the elevated surface while driving one knee toward the same side elbow. Press back up. Repeat on the other side. This is the stage almost every man over 40 should genuinely start at. The incline angle does two things simultaneously. It reduces the load on the pressing muscles, and it reduces how far your hip has to travel to drive the knee up, which means you can actually focus on coordination and control instead of just surviving the rep. Common mistake here, rushing the incline height down too fast because a steeper angle feels more impressive on camera. Nobody's handing out a trophy for using the lowest box in the gym. Pick a height where you can do 8 clean reps per side with a rigid spine, and only lower the incline once that's genuinely easy, not once you're merely surviving it. The test to move on. 8 to 10 controlled reps per side at roughly a knee to mid-thigh incline height, with the same rigid spine standard from stage 1. Your chest should touch the surface at the same moment your nose does. Not your forehead first, not your chin first. There's also a breathing pattern worth locking in at this stage, before it becomes a bad habit that follows you into every stage after this one. Exhale as you press up and drive the knee. Inhale as you lower back down. Holding your breath spikes your blood pressure unnecessarily and actually makes the core bracing worse, not better. So build the breathing pattern in now, while the movement is still slow enough to think about it. Stage 3, the standard Spiderman push-up, the actual benchman. Full push-up position on the floor, hands slightly wider than shoulder width, elbows tracking at roughly 45 degrees. Lower under control, drive one knee toward the same side elbow at the bottom. Press back up powerfully. Alternate sides each rep. This is genuinely the version most people picture when they hear Spiderman push-up. And for most men over 40, simply owning this version with clean form is a completely legitimate long-term goal. The biggest form breakdown at this stage is predictable and almost universal. The hip drive happening after the chest comes back up instead of during the descent. If you're pressing up first and then kicking the knee up as an afterthought, you've turned one coordinated movement into 2 separate movements stitched together. Another mistake specific to men over 40, letting the supporting hip sag toward the floor while the working knee drives up. That sag is your body quietly telling you the deep core stabilizers aren't strong enough yet to control the movement at full speed. The fix isn't forcing through it. The fix is slowing the tempo down until you can control it, then gradually speeding back up as the stability actually catches up. The test to move on. 12 total reps, 6 per side, on the floor, with genuinely clean form throughout the entire set. One more thing worth naming at this stage specifically, because it's the age-related detail most generic push-up tutorials never mention. Men over 40 are far more likely to be carrying old, half-healed shoulder or wrist issues than men in their 20s doing the exact same tutorial. If you've got a cranky wrist, angling your hands slightly inward, roughly 15 degrees, can take real pressure off the joint without changing anything about how the exercise trains your muscles. If you want the full week-by-week plan for progressing through all 5 of these stages at your own pace, subscribe now so you don't miss it, and drop a comment telling me which stage you're actually starting at today. No ego required, just be honest with yourself. Stage 4. The deficit Spiderman push-up, where it starts getting serious. Hands elevated on parallettes, dumbbells, or push-up handles, which increases your range of motion at the bottom of the movement. Same knee drive pattern, except now your chest is dropping below the level of your hands, which demands significantly more shoulder stability and a noticeably stronger core to control. This is genuinely where the exercise stops being just a coordination drill and starts becoming a real strength test. For a man over 40, this stage is where joint protection actually matters most. So listen closely here. The extra range of motion at the bottom is only valuable if your shoulder can control it without pain. If you feel any pinching or sharp discomfort at the bottom position, that's your body telling you to reduce the deficit height, not push through it because you think that's what toughness looks like. The test to move on. 8 reps per side with full control through the increased range, 0 joint discomfort, and the same rigid, connected hip drive timing you built in stage 3. If any of that breaks down under the deeper range, that's not a stage 4 problem. That's a sign stage 3 wasn't actually as solid as you thought it was. Programming note for this stage specifically. This isn't a movement you need to chase every single session. Twice a week, with genuine recovery between sessions, is plenty for most men over 40 at this level. Stage 5. The elite variation. Single arm assisted with explosive drive. This is the version that separates the guys who casually do the exercise from the guys who've actually mastered it. One hand on the floor, the other hand lightly resting on a raised surface for balance, and, on the working side, an explosive knee drive combined with a powerful press, controlled enough that you could stop and hold at any point in the rep without losing your balance. This isn't about ego or chasing a flashy clip for social media. It's about proving that every single system involved is now working together at a level most men, at any age, never actually reach. That's the entire point of a progression like this. You're not just doing a harder version of the same exercise. You're proving the foundation underneath it is genuinely bulletproof. Very few men over 40 need to live at this stage permanently, and that's completely fine. The real value isn't necessarily reaching stage 5 and staying there forever. The real value is knowing exactly where you currently stand, and refusing to skip stages just because your ego wants a shortcut. If you do want to build toward this stage eventually, the honest timeline for most men over 40 moving through all 5 stages, training this pattern 2 to 3 times a week, sits somewhere around 3 to 5 months. Not 3 to 5 months of misery, 3 to 5 months of steady, unglamorous progress, 5 stages, 1 movement, built up layer by layer, instead of rushed through in a single afternoon because a video made it look easy. Most men over 40 who try this exercise cold, with no progression at all, either hurt something within the first few sessions or quietly give up on it within a week and go back to whatever felt safe and familiar. You now have the actual roadmap they never had. The exercise was never the hard part. Being honest about which stage you're actually on, that's the part almost nobody wants to do.